I feel like this is something everybody deals with. And especially now with social media being what it is,
Hmm.
like if you pull up Instagram and you are, let's just say the average person, your feed is probably going to be, you know, a lot of fit people and probably a lot of half naked women, right?
Hmm.
And so if you're in that realm of a man and you're seeing all these guys with their big ass physiques, and you could say it's inspiration, sure. But in reality, what it does is puts you in this constant state of chasing in this I want that. When I have that and I
Hmm.
push for that, I will have everything that he has.
Hmm.
Right. And then what happens is when you put in a little bit of work for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're not there, like, fuck, why is that guy getting bigger and faster and stronger? And I'm not. Right.
Hmm.
And so that comparison, like you said, is a thief of joy. It kills your enjoyment for the progress.
Hey, what's going on? It's Matthew, and welcome to Henosis. If you enjoy self development content and you enjoy listening to podcasts or even watching it, then do me a huge favor subscribe to this channel, comment below any questions or your favorite parts from the episodes or any video that we upload on here. I really appreciate you for being here. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Alrighty, everybody. This is Brandon Thammavong. Thammavong. Did I say it right?
Either or,
Either or.
whatever.
Brandon, I already introduced you in a video I recorded prior to this, but let's just get into the nitty gritty, man. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. Every day, it seems like every day gets busier, but in the best way possible.
Mm. So, so what I hear you saying is you're stacking in chips every day. Building blocks every single day, laying the foundation every single day. We love it, bro.
Right.
We love it.
Right. Exactly. You have to, man. You have to. You have to continuously do more things that are aligning with your vision and your goals and your purpose and your passion. And
Hmm.
only then will you be able to start to really step into the person that is able to handle what you're asking for. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm. Yes. You. What did you post yesterday, bro? It was so good. Um,
Don't let me just pull it up real quick. Hold on,
okay.
because I want to say it verbatim. What I
Yeah.
was
No, it
saying,
was
it
so
was
good,
so.
bro. Like
Oh
I
my
really
god, it really
that
hit
hit.
for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it'll hit for a
Um.
lot of people once they hear it. But
Yeah. It says, "Do not complain about what you didn't get for the work you didn't put in."
ooh, that's one of those like that stings a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Right. Like that hit me, bro.
Hmm.
I was like, I read it somewhere, I think, or I heard it. I don't remember where I found it, and
Hmm.
I was like, damn. Like that was me all last year. Like
Mm.
when I started my business 2 years ago, you have this idea when you start mentorship programs that once you invest in the mentor, everything just happens.
Hmm.
And that couldn't be further from the fucking truth
Hmm.
because you still have to show up every day. You still have to learn every day and you still have to develop yourself every day. And that requires work.
Hmm. Yeah, very well said, bro. Like anything that's worth going after, it's gonna require work. And we could get into like how this, a lot of people these days they may feel entitled. Shit, hell, even I feel entitled sometimes. You know what I mean? I have to fight myself on that. You know what I mean? Um, I think social media has a big role in that, but anything that you want in life, you're gonna have to work for it. You know what I mean? I just started real estate, right? And if you know anything about real estate, forever who's watching and listening, like you just you don't clock in and clock out. No, you have to go after the business yourself. And
Right.
I know you have a coaching business that you also have as well. And we'll get into that for a second. But let's go back to that quote. Read it one more time because I want to hear it again.
Do
Did you put
not
it away?
complain. No, it's great. Do not complain about what you didn't get for the work you didn't put in.
Do not complain about what you didn't get for the work you didn't put in. Yeah.
Right.
Someone listening, watching, tattoo that on your body part somewhere so you don't forget
Yeah,
it.
write it on your fucking mirror, man. Put it on a sticky note. Put it on your fridge. Like you gotta get up and you gotta fucking work, man. If
Mm,
you're sick and tired of not having, abs or not having the body that you want, but you're not showing up to the gym, you're not eating your meals, like how can you be upset? If you're
mm,
not a millionaire, but you're not losing sleep and finding mentors and seeking help and reading books, how are you going to be upset?
right.
You're just not allowed to be.
Hmm.
You
Exactly.
have no room to be upset.
Absolutely. Yep. The only person responsible for you is you. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. I
Very well
actually
said.
posted, sorry to interrupt you.
Go for
I
it.
posted another video, I think last week, of me talking. I said the best advice I had ever received was when somebody told me, Brandon, you're the only person that can make this happen, and you're also the only person that can fuck it up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that one hit for me too, because it's like, damn, like it's really just up to me, and that's
Hmm.
fucking it.
Hmm. Yeah. No, it's very well said. I love that. You're the only person that can make it happen, and you're the only person that can fuck it up. I mean, that's just truth right there. You know what I mean? I
Right.
wanna I wanna get into first of all, I kind of mentioned in the intro video that you're also Lao, and
Yep.
how dope is that? You know what I mean? How many of us are doing what we're doing? You know what I mean?
Laos,
Uh,
baby. Let's go, baby. Come on.
and so happy New Year's too. This is not going to drop
Yep.
around New Year's time, but it just passed for whoever's watching. Um, but yeah, I thought that was dope. So it was cool to have that, that shared background there. Um,
Right.
but speaking of background, let's dive into yours. Um, explain. Well, just tell the listeners, tell the viewers, just how you got to where you are and some of the things you had to experience to get there.
Right. Right. Thank you for having me as a guest, by the way. I think it's really refreshing to meet Lao people, and especially other men that are in the self-development realm and focusing on helping others develop confidence and that ultimate highest self. So kudos to you for that, brother. What I when I come to this when I come to this question, there's just so many places where I can start. I can start with being bullied when I was younger, doing drugs at such a young age at like 12, drinking, alcoholism, um, insecurity with women, like lack of companionship growing up. Like there's
Hmm.
just so many things that have been really key factors into why I've became a life coach, a lifestyle coach, and why I've decided to commit my entire life to helping and serving others. And I think the biggest one for me, man, is how do you just choose one story? Like you just can't.
Well, let's
um,
let's start with the bullying. I think that's a good place to start.
yeah, sure. So when I was growing up, you know, I have an older brother and he's 3 or 4 years older than me. And growing up, man, like it doesn't matter what your older brother is like. You as the younger brother, that's your idol, no matter what, right? And that's just who I always wanted to be like. And it just so happened that there was some things that happened as we were growing up where I kind of abused my younger sibling, youngest child power, and definitely put a lot of blame onto him when I would get in trouble and stuff. So I understand that there was probably a lot of my own doing that created this.
Mm.
But it there was a point where he became my biggest bully, and he actually was the reason why a lot of my close friends growing up bullied me. And I started to get, nicknames like Gaylord, which
Mm.
was made by my brother that actually stuck, and everybody called me that growing up. And it's just, it morphed me into this very feminine base man growing up where I became this black sheep in the family where I didn't want to go to family gatherings or events because I just didn't feel welcome in my own family with my siblings and my cousins. And that lack of, you could say, companionship with my brother and with my siblings and my friends bled to school, and that energy bled, and I was bullied a lot and I was made fun of a lot, and that's when it led me to drugs, right? And so I guess I can kind of see where this started. And when I started doing drugs, I didn't start doing drugs yet. I started selling them first
Mm.
because my uncle, long story short, I'll try to make it as short as possible. My uncle got out of prison, came to live with my mom. He went to prison for selling ecstasy. I started going to the gym with him. My dad was living in another home in Colorado that I wasn't really as close to. So he became the father figure in my life. And from there, he would take me on runs. And one day he came in with a duffel bag of weed with marijuana. And this is before it was legal, obviously, in like 2000, probably 7 or 6. And I was like 12, maybe 11. And he was like, "Hey, boy, can you sell this?" I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "Weed." And I was like, "Okay, I'll try." And then I started smoking weed and selling weed. And then, like, I'm pretty sure, I'm like, your perception of time when you're younger isn't as accurate, but I'm pretty sure it was like a couple months later, maybe a year later. He was like, I was on a run with him. He came in with this blue duffel bag, bro. I remember it so vividly. Comes in this blue duffel bag, puts it on my lap, opens, unzips it, pulls out this big ass bag of like 1,000 blue ecstasy pills. They call them blue Supermans.
Mm.
And I was just like, that shit looks fucking dope. And he was like, "Can you sell this?" And I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "X." And I was like, "Okay, you know, what do I fucking know? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what fucking illegal is. I'm a first generation Asian American here, and it's like these laws, we just don't understand them to the dynamic of what they are." And so I started fucking selling ecstasy, and I started listening to EDM and trance music and house music, or really just, it was just trance and progressive house that was out. And that became my outlet, bro. It became, my life became smoking weed, playing video games. I remember I torrented illegally, right? This is back when like you would torrent things.
I remember
I
those days.
downloaded, yeah, Tiesto, Dead Mouse, and Armin van Buuren, their entire discography. So everything that they've ever made, it was like 6,000 songs from those three artists. And I just would put it on repeat. I would smoke weed, and sometimes I would even fucking pop pills at home by myself, playing video games. And I studied that music, but I studied the culture, and I just got immersed in that culture. And when we would go to raves, I would go to raves every fucking month and sell pills. The culture inside these raves, these underground raves, were so, it was just, what is it? They call it plur, right? Peace, love, harmony, peace, love, unity, and respect. And it was just a community of people that showed ultimate compassion for each other. And that became my outlet. The music became my saving grace from, doing insane things, because it showed me that, hey, there are people in this world that care about you. There are people that have your best interests. And from there, I think that's where it really started, where I started to learn the power of optimism and the power of compassion and the power of self-love and the power of altruism, right? And as I've adopted a lot of those modalities, and kind of, you can call them perceptions, into my life, it's really been the driving factor into what I've manifested into my life. And so when I decided to start life coaching, I had already been helping people my entire life with relationships and with fitness. It only made sense that I stepped into the role of a life coach and did it in a more professional manner because it's what I have been doing my whole life already.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's. I think there's a lot of things there that you said, and you talked about that many people can relate to, especially the drug abuse, just being around, just in the wrong environment. I think
Right.
environment has a lot to do with molding you. You know what I mean? If all you know is selling drugs, partying all the time, then that's going to be your reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
It isn't. It's until you decide to change that environment, then you begin to also change yourself. Um, let's dive deep in that. How important is it? Um, Actually, let's backtrack. I know you said, um, your father was it Colorado?
Yep. Yep. Born and raised in Colorado.
Okay, but he wasn't there for majority of your childhood, right?
He was there, and we definitely visited him like every 2 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very like pick up the kids, go to Blockbuster or Hollywood, buy
Mm,
some video games, throw them in the basement, right?
yeah.
And that was our time with our dad. And if we were spending time with him, it was, hey, come help me pull weeds. Hey, come help me wash my truck. Hey, come help me fix these cars.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it was just it was very there was a very big line with the connection,
Yeah.
right? And it seemed like when you're a kid, man, I saw this in the TikTok, man. I fucking love TikTok. It just TikTok just changed the dynamic of our society as a whole so much, and it's
Mm-hmm.
created so much for us. I'm so grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this and it says when you're a kid, man, the only thing that you fucking want is the attention from two people. You don't care about money, you don't care about gifts, you just want attention from two fucking people, and that's your mom and your fucking dad. And when
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that, something fucking happens inside of you, and there's a really big shift, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that I did not get. And it almost as if like my dad was also one of those people that was like, because I was just a little bit more sensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would always call me like, why are you such a wimp? Why are you such a baby? Why are you such a crybaby? And like, dude, those things stick when you're young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you don't know why they're doing it. You don't know that they're making fun of you in a way where it's like loving and silly, right? You don't have that. Your brain is just not developed like that yet,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you add in doing a bunch of drugs, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. That's huge, bro. I mean, I can relate to that. You know what I mean? I'm thankful for my parents.
Right.
My biological dad, was pretty much out of the picture until my stepfather came in. Who really was my dad. But and then there's nothing against you know um, how they raised me or whatever, but it goes back to your environment. If all you know is hustle, which they did, my mom busted her ass to give me the. I wore Jordans when I was in elementary school, bro. Like I was fresh to
Right.
death. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and back then, and Jordans still aren't cheap now, but
No
um,
way, bro.
exactly. So I knew she
And
was
especially coming from, when you're working at a very, our parents were working minimum wage jobs. So
mhm,
like $200 sneakers, man, that's a lot.
right.
But just to add on to what you're saying, like I agree, bro. Like I'm very, very grateful for the life that I lived. Like my parents worked their ass off, and I extend them the most gratitude.
Hmm.
And I understand that their parenting style was limited to their level of awareness and their
Hmm.
level of understanding of emotional intelligence and
Hmm.
communication and empathy,
Hmm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think, and this is also something I've listened to, is adversity and struggle, I feel like is such a blessing. It's such a
Hmm.
privilege,
Hmm.
to grow up and see the polarity of, I wouldn't say poverty, but lower middle class,
Hmm.
and to be able to really ground yourself in gratitude with, wow, like I really did have all that I ever needed,
Hmm.
and that's it.
Right.
Everything
Right.
else is manageable, and I can move forward with my life still. Just wanted to add
Absolutely.
that in there. Sorry to interrupt you
No, no,
again.
bro. Hey, I appreciate you adding on to it, and I agree. It that adversity makes you stronger. You know, what I mean, makes you more resilient. And what's cool about it though, like you don't. Some people may learn it sooner than others, but like for me personally, like obviously, having you know my my stepdad and my mom working a lot, you didn't really get to develop that emotional connection. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and which is totally fine. You know what I mean? Because it made me who I am today. Because you can learn that emotional development later. You know what I mean? I think if you start studying psychology, you start to understand why people do the things they do. You begin to develop compassion, for the way they were brought up. You know what I mean? And I say all that to say this really, like it's um, you your experiences is really to help you, right? But you can
Right.
also learn compassion and understand why your parents raised you the way they did later, and so you can return that mercy and compassion back to them. Because I think
Right.
there's a lot of people that can relate to our stories, bro. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that who may be angry towards their parents. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
think I was one of those peoples for a while too, but I didn't understand it until I started to learn about it. You know what I mean? Could you speak on that
Right.
a little bit? Were you ever like
Yeah.
angry towards maybe not your parents, but the way you were brought up, and it might include that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. I think you definitely, opened up a really cool door there, Matt, because we talk about practicing compassion and understanding, it's a lot more than just understanding like my parents did their best to their level of awareness, and they did their best to give me what they thought. But what we don't understand is that it morphs our values, and it morphs what we see as important in our life, right? Like if our family raised us to always focus on money and buying a home and getting married and having kids, right? It puts this idea in our head that when we have a home, when we have financial success, that's when we will be fulfilled. That's when we'll be happy. And that's where a lot of, I've seen a lot of Asians for sure, but this is a very common thing in all, ethnicities and cultures, where we just have this idea that happiness and confidence and all these things come from this external validation,
Mm-hmm.
right? It comes from all these things outside of us. And in reality, it's all within us. And now to go on and what you're talking about with the compassion for your parents and stuff like that, it's about, you know, forgiving them for doing their best, which is kind of contradicting, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, why do you think you have to forgive them? Well, it's because when we go through life and we have this trauma inside of us or we have this pain inside of us, it's based on the experiences we've had based on our level of perception,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when we have anger in us and we choose not to deal with that anger or to look into that anger, it projects in so many different ways. It projects into our intimate relationships, our friendships. If you ever had a regular 9 to 5 job and your manager's a fucking dick, what do you think he's dealing with inside? The reality is he's not dealing with it. And that's why it's projecting outwards, right? And so when it comes to forgiveness, when it comes to managing those emotions, especially for us men, a lot of us don't want to face those fucking emotions because they're heavy, they're hard, and we don't even know where they come from, right? And so that's why alcohol, TV shows, sports, all these things are so predominant in our culture because they serve as, numbing mechanisms. They serve as things to distract us from our real pain and suffering. I don't even remember what your question was, but I think that's in the right direction.
No, that's perfect, bro. That's perfect. I think, and that's the point of it, just to really get, you know, just from the heart. You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly right, bro. Like we, you have to understand, you know, where you come from at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's and you're only responsible for what you know. You know what I mean? And so, very well said, bro. Let's kind of moving on. I think this is a great segue into confidence. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you were brought up a certain way, and your values may be external. You know what I mean? For me, like I have, and I'm still dealing with it, but I'm a lot better than I was before. But comparison, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's it's the thief of joy. You know what I mean?
God.
And it sucks because it can make you feel like a crappy person, or you're gonna feel like an arrogant, you know, piece of shit. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
um, and that I think that does have to do with confidence as well. But let's dive deep into comparison. What have you ever dealt with comparison? Um, I guess issues, if we want to call it that.
Right. I have I feel like this is something everybody deals with. And especially now with social media being what it is,
Mm-hmm.
like if you pull up Instagram and you are, let's just say the average person, your feed is probably going to be, you know, a lot of fit people and probably a lot of half naked women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're in that realm of a man and you're seeing all these guys with their big ass physiques, and you could say it's inspiration, sure. But in reality, what it does is it puts you in this constant state of chasing and this I want that. When I have that and I
Mm-hmm.
push for that, I will have everything that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what happens is when you put in a little bit of work for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're not there, like, fuck, why is that guy getting bigger and faster and stronger? And I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that comparison, like you said, is a thief of joy. It kills your enjoyment for the progress. Right. And let's take it to the other side of women. Right. When a woman sees all these other women of this is what she looks like on Instagram, I wish I had that and this. And it's like, it really takes us outside of ourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when things like social media take us outside of ourself, we can never look within.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can't look within, or when we can't look within, we can't fully work on ourselves and the things that we don't like about ourselves and the things that we want to cultivate within ourselves. And we see what this other person projects on social media of their highest level. People project their highest level on social media. There's a very small percentage of people that are very raw and authentic and vulnerable on social media. So comparing yourself usually happens when you're at your lowest points. You're at your mentally weakest points. And when you're
Mm-hmm.
comparing yourself at your mentally weakest point to somebody's, high vibe social media stories and content, how the fuck are you ever going to make any progress?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can't. You're constantly going to be in the negative self sabotage, negative self doubt, always putting yourself down, always being hard on yourself. And that is something I've experienced where I actually continue to experience where I am always hard on myself. I'm always putting the highest expectations on myself. But I will say it doesn't come from comparison. My I wouldn't say it's an issue. I would say it's an obstacle. My obstacle right now is that the reason why I push so hard and for so much success what is two reasons, right? One reason is obviously because I want to change the fucking world and I want to improve everybody's life, but the shadow side to that is is that I have never received that validation when I was younger. And there's a part of me that wants to prove to everybody, like, yo, do you guys remember when you made fun of me? Do you guys remember when I wasn't good enough? I fucking remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that shit. And I'm never gonna fucking forget it. You
Mm-hmm.
best believe that. Because to be honest, like I don't really have the I have family tattooed on my forearm here when my uncle died in 2017. And I didn't know we're gonna get this deep, but we're about to. So I valued family so much. And when I moved to Las Vegas 4 years ago, you really start to see how much people are actually supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
When you open a business, you see who the fuck is supporting you. When you start making music, you see who the fuck is supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
When you start posting content, you see who the fuck is supporting you and who's
Mm-hmm.
not.
Yep.
But they're always fucking watching, right?
You better
And
preach.
so, oh yeah. And what I found, Matt, is I have been more further away from my family than I ever have before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the lack of support. I can get all the words in the world of you're doing a great job, you're doing this, like I'm so excited to, but where are your actions?
Mm-hmm.
What are you actually doing to support me in my business?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's something that is really tough when you are an entrepreneur or when you're chasing your dreams. Like this is something for everybody. Doesn't matter what you're doing in life. When you decide to take your life in a different direction, in a positive direction,
Mm-hmm.
there will be people waiting to fucking bring you down, even if it's your fucking family.
Yeah. Let's park there because I have experienced that as well, and it is something that I've been wrestling with. Because the reason why you do what you do, right? And I could be wrong, but it's for your family at the end of the day, right?
For
It's
sure.
it's like the reason why I do what I do is because I'm trying to be rich so I could buy my grandparents a house, I could buy my parents a house,
Right.
buy my
Yeah.
brothers
Same.
a Ferrari, whatever. You know what I mean? I want to
Right.
do it for them. You know what I mean? I want
Right.
to, and also to show like, hey, you can do it too, right?
Right.
And you do kind of get met with that resistance. And it
Right.
doesn't have to be like your immediate family. It could be, cousins, uncles, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or even people you thought were your close friends. You know what I mean?
Right. That would be considered family as well. Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to ask you like, why do you think that is? Like, because I guess you can say like people see you leveling up or you're trying to change the way you're showing up in the world, and it's like, dang, like I'm trying to change myself for the better, and now I feel like I'm abandoned. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
why do you think that happens?
So like before I start on that, I want to say like when I say family, I don't mean my entire family, right? My mom supports me very well. She calls me
Mm-hmm.
all the time, of course. My dad, my siblings, and it's more so of when people judge you or I mean, there's another part where like people don't support you because they just have their own lives to worry about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when people and family and friends that you thought were ride or dies stop supporting you, it becomes an envious thing. It becomes a battle of wow, I could be doing more with my life.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes that thought of I'm falling short,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you look at somebody, let's just say that you've known for 10 years and then you see them every single year getting bigger and doing more, you can have two thoughts. One, fucking good for Brandon. I'm so excited to see that. Or two, you get that face
Yeah.
that, oh, he thinks he's the shit or he thinks he's doing better. He thinks he's doing all good. And they
Mm-hmm.
go towards judgment in a negative way because they're not doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And because they're not doing it, it triggers them.
Mm-hmm.
It triggers that emotion inside that's like, I know I'm not doing shit. I won't admit I'm not doing shit. So I'm going to put somebody else down instead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it comes from, relatives and, close people like family and best friends and stuff the most is because we hold expectations for them.
Mm-hmm.
We hold these expectations as you are somebody that's focused on self-development and me that's focused on self-development. When I talk to my family, when I talk to my best friends, I hold you to the level I hold myself. And if
Mm-hmm.
you cannot handle that, you will push back. You will talk
Mm.
shit. You
Yeah.
will put down,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot handle the energy and the drive and the enthusiasm I project onto you, what are you going to do? You're going to fucking be like, that's too much, Brandon. I'm sorry. I'm good where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody can say that
Mm-hmm.
because they know it's bullshit. They know they're fucking lying to themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you if you were somebody that was like super in shape and somebody kept telling you they want to get in shape, I got it. Let me hand you the tools for success. The reality is nobody's willing to do the work, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's real, man. And
Nobody's willing to suffer, bro.
yeah, and that's life. Life is suffering. It's
Yeah.
Buddhism. That's one of Buddhism's
Yes.
main, um, core belief is life is
Right.
suffering. But I do want to do a disclaimer real quick. Um, like you said as well, Mike, I love my family. My parents support me. My brothers too.
Right.
When we
Yeah,
mention
we have
family,
to continuously put it out there, right? It's like,
yeah,
hey guys, I know you're probably fucking listening to this, right?
yeah,
My family, my friends out there, there's no fucking hard feelings, guys. I have no hate for anybody, but
yeah,
I'm going to say how it is all the fucking time. You best
yeah.
believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share my experience from my perspective with the most compassion, of course,
Yeah.
right? And hopefully it wakes you guys the fuck up, man,
Mm-hmm.
because I am here supporting everybody I fucking can. I'll share this with you, Matt. I was
Mm-hmm.
at work and my buddy, one of my barbacks, he said something like he was just talking shit. He was like, he said, why are you talking shit, Brandon? I said, hey, whatever his name is. I said, I don't talk shit, bro. And he goes, what? And I was like, I don't talk shit. You know that. And he was like, he paused and he's like, you right. And and the fact that he understood that to that level is because when I'm in this life coaching space of practicing Buddhism and the spiritual practice and all the compassion and stuff, it's like I wish everybody to fucking eat, right? It just
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're just not eating at my table anymore.
Yeah, that's real. And you have to do that. It's hard sometimes, but
Right.
you
And
know.
this is where it comes back to the environment, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not a part of my life right now and I don't speak to you on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, there's a fucking reason. It's because you have a part of you that's a little bit of a cancer that is spreading. That
Mm-hmm.
energy is spreading. And I cannot fucking handle that because the level I'm operating at is fucking cloud nine. I'm
Mm-hmm.
moving at a million miles an hour, and the littlest bit of negativity and pessimism and self doubt fucking drops me. Can't
Mm-hmm.
fucking have that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You can't.
You can't, and exactly, just like a ship. Once that baby is busted open, it's going down. You know what I mean? You can't
Right.
allow any water to get into that ship, and that ship we're referring to is your mind and your environment. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. I will share one thing with you, Matt. As anybody develops with their journey of spiritual practice, self development, whatever you want to call it, it's the same fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's your mind becomes more fragile as you elevate. It becomes more sensitive as you elevate, and the higher the level you become, as far as the pace you move, the level of alignment with you or you're with yourself, not feeding into your vices, not feeding into instant gratification and instant pleasure, the more sensitive you become to things like criticism, complaining, negativity, self doubt, excuses, right? And that's where you have to really make the hard decisions to fucking cut these people out of your life. Like, I haven't talked to anybody on a consistent basis besides my best friend Sean in the
Mm-hmm.
last 5 months. I answer my mom's phone call once a month, probably,
Mm-hmm.
because I need to be with myself. I need to
Yeah,
be with my own thoughts and my own beliefs and my own dreams and passions because there's nobody that's going to support me as much as I'm going to support myself.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
understand that.
yeah. You can even say like your level of success is correlated to your relationship with yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you're not good within here, then you can't expect everything out there to be sunshine and roses. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
gotta take care of what's in here first. Then, you'll be surprised. Actually, I don't think you'll be surprised. You should expect it. Once all this is good in here, you should expect everything out there to, you know, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be
But damn
uh,
close.
pretty damn close. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's more so about kind of the way you see things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
It's all about perspective.
exactly. If if the if you're like in a bad situation, and what I mean by that, like maybe you don't have a whole lot of money in a bank account right now. You know what I mean? You're not fucking, you're not rolling in money right now. But if you're good in here, then that shit's not gonna matter.
Right.
It's your bank account will catch up to what's in here first. You know what I mean?
Right. As long as you develop the character and the
Mm-hmm.
man, right? Things like women and money and success just follow. Those
Yeah,
are just byproducts of you being the best version of yourself, right?
absolutely. Let's shift into mindset. I think because we're kind of on that vein right now. What
Right.
are what are some ways to develop a bulletproof mind?
Man, so many ways, bro. The this is what I talked to on another podcast about recently is like you have to challenge the mind. You have to put yourself in a position of uncomfortable situations and discomfort. And when you allow your mind to win, like I have repetitively done over the last couple of years, I'm not immune to this. Nobody's immune to this. You just have to develop a practice and a discipline for it, right?
Hmm.
You start to cave into things like porn and fast food and sugar and alcohol and excessive marijuana smoking or drugs or whatever it is, excessive video games, excessive binge watching TV,
Hmm.
anything can be a vice if you do it in excess, right? So when you are trying to take yourself out of this repeating cycle that you are in, it's so important that you challenge the mind. But how do you challenge the mind, right? You start with fucking exercise, right? You can do cold showers. You can do things like meditating. You can do things like yoga. You can do hikes. You can do outdoor activities, something where it stimulates your brain to either slow down or to challenge the uncomfortable situation of the body, right?
Hmm.
And this is what a lot of people aren't willing to do. But in reality, Matt, like going to the gym is fucking easy.
Yeah.
All you have to do is show up and follow a YouTube workout for 30, 45 minutes and
Hmm.
fucking leave and then do it again tomorrow and then
Yep.
4 days a week. And you're good, right? And you
Yeah.
develop that habit, right? But because we put so much pressure on going to the gym, getting dressed, eating before, like we our mind makes it harder than it actually is.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
develop the bulletproof mind by challenging it constantly.
Mm. Yeah. Absolutely. And one of those ways is working out. You know what I mean? I like how you
The
said, like, all
easiest
you
way.
got to do is show the fuck up. You know what I mean? Half the battle
Yeah.
for anything in life is showing up. But
Yeah.
especially with the gym, all you got to do is just get your ass up and just walk in the doors.
Yeah.
You may not even have a plan for a workout, but I promise you, if I mean, and you might agree with this, like if you just walk in, you're just gonna get inspired. You just get that. I don't know. You just
Right.
feel like you want to start working out, and then
There's
do
energy
it.
there.
Do it again
There
the
there's
next day.
people
Yep.
watching you now, right?
Exactly.
And so if you show up to the gym every day and just hop on the treadmill for 20 minutes, okay? If you did that for 30 days, I guarantee you in the next 30 or 60 days after that, you're going to reach a point where you're like, "Hmm, I wonder what it's like to be on the weights. I'm going to go try it out." Or you're going to be one of those people that's like, "I'm too scared to go on the weights, so I'm going to stay on the treadmill." Either way, you're fucking doing something about it, right?
Hmm.
But what happens is when we get in that cycle of go to the gym, hop on the treadmill, now we've created a new cycle, a
Hmm.
new cycle of comfort with the treadmill and just doing that. And now it's time to take ourselves out of that cycle into what do I need to do to get here and to get this body or to get this confidence, right?
Hmm.
And that's where a lot of people don't see. It was like, well, I've been going to the gym, but we don't ask the questions of what are you doing at the gym? What kind of thoughts are you having when you're at the gym that's preventing you from moving forward to really attain those goals that you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, yeah. Definitely got to take care of the mind and just show up for yourself.
Right.
Um, I want to switch, um, not switch gears, but I keep saying that. I
You're good,
really
bro.
want to. I want to get into just men in general. You know, what I mean,
Okay.
you coach men. That's why you're on this podcast. That's why I hit
Right.
you up. Um, why are men struggling with the things they struggle with today? Like, you know, um, I see it a lot. There's you could tell when a man hasn't developed himself, and he kind of looks goofy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think it's an odd thing, but I just want to know your thoughts on that. Like, why why do we have weak men?
Well, it just depends on what your term of a weak man is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people say weak men are men that show their emotions. Some
Mm-hmm.
people say weak men are men that don't work out. Some people say weak men are men that um, can't provide for their families, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have so many ideas of what a strong man looks like. And to me, a strong man is somebody that is emotionally intelligent, somebody that practices and focuses on self development and looks within himself, somebody that really is able to put his best foot forward 100% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason why I believe that a lot of men cannot do that is definitely based on a lot of their circumstances and the way that they've been raised. A lot of people do have shitty pasts and stuff like that. But what happens is a lot of people use it as excuses, and they use it as a crutch to the point where they wear it like a fucking badge,
Mm-hmm.
right? I went through this and I had a hard life, and you know they develop this victim mindset of everything is happening to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why is life happening to me? Why did this happen? Of course this happened, right? And then what happens, Matt, is when you develop a victim mindset or a negative mindset, it's just like a positive mindset. You start to subconsciously like that feeling. Your body starts to
Mm-hmm.
adapt to that. And then all of a sudden, this becomes your new pattern of thinking, right? Because energy is contagious. Whether it's positive or negative doesn't matter. Now, when you develop that negative mindset and you go into that rabbit hole, sometimes we get so deep within ourselves that how do you pull yourself out, right? And then you don't want to ask for help, and then you don't think anything's worth it, and then you start to surround yourself with the same people with the same energy. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens is you start to not only surround yourself with these people, but you start to like them. You start to see value in some of these people that are also negative and complaining all the time. And what happens when you see somebody that you have value in, or you see value in somebody, is you start to adopt some of their behaviors and some of their words, their slangs. So if you ever have followed mentors or had best friends where you really love them so much, you just something about them, their energy just, you start to say things like them, right? You start to use some of the verbiage, start some of the tonality, you start to use some of their body language, and it's so organic to do that, right? As humans, we
Mm-hmm.
just mimic and mirror each other and adapt with each other. And so that's the same thing that happens when weak men, you could say weak men,
Mm-hmm.
or men that are in that victim mindset, or men that are more stuck and complacent in life and
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, or lack of you could say self-confidence, that's what they also attract into their life.
Yeah. What's the first step for them to take?
Man, go to the fucking gym, guys. Like, to be honest, the reason why I say that is because of a few reasons, right? Number one is that it teaches you delayed gratification. It teaches you that good things that happen don't come fast, right? It teaches you to be patient for the results you're looking for. With confidence building, it's going to take a fucking long time. To
Mm-hmm.
be honest, I thought that developing peak confidence and bulletproof confidence was never going to happen for me. I thought it was just going to be something I was always chasing. until, to be honest, like a month ago. A month ago, I was like, holy shit, I'm here.
That's
I'm
awesome.
fucking here. Like, there's nothing that can fucking stop me, right? And the thing that really helped me the most, I will share really quick, is really detaching from that instant gratification, right? Things like porn, things like fast food, things like alcohol, things that numb, the feelings really quick. But what I was saying back with the gym is it teaches you delayed gratification, but it also pushes, those feel good hormones up, endorphins. And when you're in a depressive state, when you're in a lower vibrational state, when you're in a low mood, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and you have nothing making you feel better, how will you feel better? Right? How will you even make the decision to feel better? You need something to give you a breath of fresh air, right? And if you have trouble going to the gym, I recommend you taking a fucking scoop of pre-workout and just go. Because once you take that pre-workout, you're not gonna fucking sit with it. You're fucking jittery, you're itchy, you feel like a fucking crackhead. That's what I had to do for years, bro. I wouldn't want to go to the gym. Guess what? Once I take that pre-workout, I know I have to be there in 30 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm fucking going crazy, right? The only thing that can like mitigate that adrenaline is pumping, right? So if I could recommend anything, guys, it's like go to the gym, start working out, and do something that helps stimulate some positive feelings in your life.
Yeah. And you always feel great after. Like
Yeah.
every,
And if
every
you
time.
don't, it's like at least I went, right? It's a
Yeah.
win-win situation.
Yeah. 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 There's just something about lifting weights or even going on a little run. Like it's the endorphins, obviously, but I mean, you just like you're gonna thank yourself once you do it.
Right. And I think the thing is too, Matt, is like you start to see like, hey, I'm actually doing something. I'm not just thinking about it. I'm putting action into place. And actions speak louder than words when it comes to improving self-esteem and self-confidence, right? And I will say, obviously, like, I've used positive affirmations too, and it's worked a lot. But when it comes to taking action and cutting things out of your life or adding things into your routine, it's so powerful.
Yeah. Very, very well said, Brandon. Um, I kind of want to wrap it up here in a second. But we talked about mindset. We talked about confidence a little bit and your story. Um, let's let's talk about kind of the you mentioned action. And action just starts by just doing it, right?
Right.
You just gotta just go to the gym. You just gotta if you have an idea, you want to start a podcast or whatever. You just start. You know what I mean? So action is huge when it comes to the self development space. Is there anyone that outside of your own coaching program that you recommend people to men that you recommend men to like check out?
Right. I have, some of the mentors that I follow and the people that I follow are Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty is my biggest inspiration for sure because he comes from that Buddhist background as well. And a lot of the modalities that he teaches, I have been practicing my entire life. So that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them for sure. I listened to a lot of Eric Thomas, Les Brown for motivation when I was bodybuilding back in 2015 and 16 and 17. And, at sometimes like there's two ways to approach it. You will listen to the guys that will kick your fucking teeth and be like, get the fuck up, stop fucking crying, get your shit together. Sometimes you need that as a man. Most of the times you do need that as a man. That's what your dad would probably fucking say. Stop
Right.
fucking crying. Grow the fuck up. You're a man, right? Sometimes you need that shit. That's something that pulled me out recently, right? And then you also need the other side that's like, think about it in this way. Think about it in a different perspective, right? And that's where mentors like Jay Shetty come in, mentors like myself come in, where actually I have a really big balance of both sides of masculine and feminine. But I think when it comes down to the content you consume, you really just have to find that one person that really speaks to your soul, that really speaks to the journey, that the things that you're going through at the moment. But audiobooks.
Hmm.
Audiobooks has been my biggest savior. Podcast for sure, but audiobooks has been a big one. Think Like a Monk. His Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk, was a really big gateway to my life coaching practice.
Hmm.
And if we're talking about, you know, we were talking about comparison earlier. The book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements,
Mm,
that was a
yep.
really big one for me as well. So there are resources out there, and I think the problem is that there's too many resources, and a lot
Hmm.
of men don't know where to look.
Hmm.
Right? Like if we talked about self development podcasts for men, there's probably millions,
Right.
right? And so how can you start to kind of, and also, like, this is on a tangent here, but like we're talking about some of these other guys that talk about fucking alphas and betas, and
Hmm.
some of that kind of advice that's going out there to these guys. And it's like, what do we believe? Do we believe that we have to shut off our emotions and go, or do we believe that we have to balance our life and look within, right?
Hmm.
And that's for you guys to decide. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever pulls you out is the right answer,
Yeah.
right? Being stuck where you are is the fucking problem. So
Hmm.
whatever pulls you out will pull you out. But when it comes to some of these ideas that, men cannot show their emotions and stuff like that, I believe that's definitely false. I think that men should feel their emotions to a very certain extent,
Hmm.
but they should only show them in, I would say, relationships with women, or, dating, stuff like that, in a
Hmm.
very, I would say, contained way, right? If we're
Yeah.
talking about being successful in relationships and stuff.
Hmm. No, definitely. Yeah, those are great places to start. Jay Shetty is, I started listening to him too. That's kind of, how I got started on my self development too, is just listening to his podcast. Have you
Right.
listened to his podcast with Kobe?
No, I
It's a
haven't.
good one,
It's
man.
really good.
Kobe,
I'll have to check it out.
R.P. Kobe, man. But Kobe was, you want to talk about mindset, the Mamba mentality, the
Yeah.
Mamba mindset, man. Like, he was just full of wisdom, bro. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
don't
have
know
to
if
watch it.
yeah, he has too. So, they're both very great. But shout out to Kobe because, yeah, he inspired people, and you know, he's my goat. Not LeBron or MJ. But shout out to Kobe. But as we wrap up here, Brandon, I like to end my podcast with three questions, and
Okay.
they get kind of existential a little bit. So, first one is, what do you define as success?
Success. What do I define as success? Success to me is being able to live on my own terms, is being able to set my own schedule, to wake up when I want to wake up, to sleep when I want to sleep, and to not worry about things like bills and finances and rent, and to be able to give back, right? To be so full of abundance that you can give endlessly and
Mm-hmm.
selflessly and never expect anything in return. To me, that's success. That's bliss.
Very well said. Next question would be, what do you define as love?
Love. That's a question. Man, love is selflessness. It's ultimate compassion. It's the highest level of energy. It is what runs this fucking world. It is Love is the most powerful thing on this fucking planet.
Mm-hmm.
And we are starting to see that as a society. And we're starting to see that as a whole, as far as human civilization, because, you know, when you meet somebody with love, there's never anything that comes bad from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. When you meet someone with love, there's nothing bad that comes from it. Love that. And then the very last question would be, why are we here? Like, what's this whole life thing about?
Man. That's a deep question. Why are we here? I know why I'm here. I'm here to help all you motherfuckers reach enlightenment. That's for sure. Now, what do we think we're doing here as humans is to experience this life of polarity, of black and white and ice and hot
Hmm.
and suffering and happiness, and to find joy in it, right? Like as I've went through my journey map of self-development and detachment, all these things that we have are nice, right? But when these items own you and they tunnel vision you, it becomes another cancer in its own. And this life is, there's a cycle of life, right? It's life and death, and everything is a mirror of each other, right? If we take the concept of a plant and embody that concept of how a plant grows with ourself, we require sleep. We require rest. We require sunlight. We require darkness. We require water. We require food. We require our soil to be changed inside of us,
Hmm.
right? We require our environment to be, if we think about the seasons as to why we slow down in the winter and why we speed up during the summertime, and why we sleep with the sun and why we rise with the sun, and like everything is fucking connected, and a
Hmm.
lot of us don't see that. And this is where we start to see the concept of life itself as everything is one.
Hmm.
And if you can start to adopt that and see that if I can treat my life and what I'm trying to chase like a fucking plant, it's so easy to manifest success. It's so easy to manifest happiness, because it's like a Amazon package. You order, maybe a book, and you forget about it.
Hmm.
Oh, look, I got a package. There it is, right? I want happiness. You forget about it. You just go on with your life. Oh, look, there it is. Right? You want success. You want financial stability. I want that. Put in a little bit of work, give yourself space, enjoy your life. Oh, look, there it is. Right? It's really that fucking easy.
Hmm.
And when we think about life, bro, it's the purpose is for us to understand balance. It's for us to understand that life is heaven itself. If you really stop, like I was taking my dog out for a walk earlier, and I was just like, I saw this little bug in the grass, and I was like, damn, like what is that? Like I don't know what that is. And I was like, there's just so much that I don't know, but like that bug is essential for this life because
Hmm.
everybody plays a fucking role. That was some deep spiritual shit, but that's my belief of what life is, at least.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I believe everything is connected. You know what I mean?
Right,
And that was a beautiful response. It's a very deep question, but I mean, I think it needs to be asked. And I think it's something
right,
that, everyone has to ask that question at one point. You know what I mean? Like everyone
right,
asks that
right.
question at one point or in their life. But everything is connected. So, for me, when I hear that, I just hear like you have to know that if everything is connected, then every decision you make, every person you interact with, it's vital. It's key. You know what I mean? Like you have to
Right,
treat that as a special moment. And
right.
granted, we're gonna take advantage of that, and we're not always gonna make the best decisions.
Of course not. Right.
Yeah.
Everybody you meet is a reflection of yourself. Everybody you
Hmm.
meet is showing you a part of yourself, whether that's a good part or a bad part. Either way, it's there in your face, and it will teach you a lesson.
Hmm.
And if you do not catch it, there will be a repeating cycle. There will be another person, right?
Yeah.
And when we're talking about life itself, bro, it's all about karma. It's all about practicing what you preach, but also putting out what you want to get back in return.
Hmm.
And that's where it comes to all this is all coming full circle, right? If you
Hmm.
notice, it's about compassion, it's about love, it's about self-love first,
Hmm.
to give love. And if you can be in that cycle of love and giving, you will always receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Just give out love and expect love in return. Um, you have a coaching program.
Yes, sir.
What can a guy expect to get out of that?
Well, we're definitely talking about becoming your most confident self. So that is
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing for sure, right? We're talking about elevating the mind, elevating the lifestyle, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about wanting to be able to approach more women, you want to make more money, you want to achieve your dream body, then that's what you will get, right? My
Mm-hmm.
program is very action based, and it is derived around a lot of these teachings we've talked about today, about
Mm-hmm.
mindset, about spiritual work, about holistic practice, about exercising, nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
you're treating your body like a temple, right? I offer free workout plans on my website, which is northstarzenergy.com.
Mm-hmm.
I have a free training on there that talks about confidence as well. My Instagram and my TikTok is North Stars Energy. If you guys are looking to develop your confidence and elevate it to the highest level, that's where you can reach me, or you can contact me at Brandon at northstarzenergy.com. My course is called The Confidence Code, The Power of Positive Thinking. It's a group
Mm-hmm.
coaching course for driven and spiritual men looking to elevate their life. It is, I believe it is the fastest way to develop yourself, right? And this is exactly what we talked about before, Matt. Is like, where do you start? Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that are offering programs and offering help. Like, you just have to choose one, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Make that choice. There is a thing called decision fatigue. So
Mm,
when you are always trying to make a lot of decisions or you're contemplating what decision you should make, you're going to um, fatigue your mind. So
right.
pick Brandon's course. That's what I'm trying to
Thanks,
say.
Matt. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think for real quick, I know we got to wrap it up soon, but when you're talking about decision fatigue, I just briefly want to touch up on the power of energy and enthusiasm, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is something a lot of us aren't very aware of, and maybe you aren't either. But decision fatigue is kind of around the similar concept, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening to this podcast and you were inspired by any part of it, there's going to be a amount of enthusiasm and energy that you receive from this podcast, and it's only
Mm-hmm.
going to last a few days. And
Mm-hmm.
that few days is that fucking opening for you to jump in and make a fucking decision. And if
Mm-hmm.
you do not make a decision within that time frame, that energy is fucking gone. And it's
Yeah.
going to take who knows how long until you hear another inspirational thing that triggers
Mm-hmm.
something to change in you. And that's where our cycles repeat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where a lot of guys listening out there, even women out there listening, like, you will receive a burst of energy and enthusiasm to make a drastic change in your life. And when you do, you have to fucking ride with it all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you're going to be stuck for another, who knows, month, 2 months, another year, 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Make that decision, guys. Brandon, had a great fucking time, bro.
That was awesome.
Thanks for dropping some gems.
Of
And I know you
course.
mentioned your where people could find you, but if you didn't catch that, I'll include it in the description. Um, is there anything you're working on next, like any projects, or you
Oh
just
my
kind of
God.
yeah?
I've got a lot of projects right now. I started producing electronic music last
Oh,
year in June.
okay.
So I'm releasing my first EP that actually might be turning into an album because I'm just making so many songs.
That's
Next
dope, bro.
month in the month of May, it might even get pushed to June. But so that's a side personal project that I have. I'm writing a book right now called The Laws of Zenergy: An Introduction to Spirituality. I might change the title, who knows? But I've been writing that book for the last 2 years, slowly chipping away. It's not a big priority, but it is in the works. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
my course, the Confidence Code, is developing still, and it's still in the works, but it is rolling and it is open for enrollment. And other than that, man, it's all about sharing this message as much as I can in the most
Mm-hmm.
authentic way, and growing, and bringing people into my, I would call it, my environment, like you and whoever else is ready to elevate themselves to be a part of this, you know wave that we're creating, and to be a part of these frontline guys that are on podcasts like this, talking about self-development, talking about increasing the power of your mind, and spreading wisdom and knowledge and experience and just sharing and just loving, and
Hmm.
just saying like, hey, you may not be the best person for my program, but I'm still going to support you because you understand the concept of self-love and self-development. And you understand that you can't do it alone, right?
Hmm.
But that's all I got going on for me right now, at least out the top of my head, at least.
Man, dude, that's jam packed, bro.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
lot.
surprised you have time for the doggies.
Oh my God, dude. That's like my biggest priority is making time for him to go to the park every day almost.
How old is
Um,
he? Or what kind of
I
dog
think
you have?
he's like 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. Oh my God. I've been having the last 3 months he's had this line cut and everybody goes fucking crazy for him now. So if you have a Pomeranian, do a line cut on him, guys.
That's awesome. Uh, well, Brandon, thank you so much, brother, and thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, thanks for sticking all the way through. If you enjoyed that piece of content right there, don't forget to like the video. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Comment below your favorite parts, or maybe if you have a question about what was discussed and talked about. Either way, I really appreciate you for being here. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.